Okay, welcome to my Rhino tutorial number 2 here. Um, Today I'm going to try and cut slot welding holes in my deck plate here. You can see I have a self-bailing deck on this boat, and it's been recycled. This boat was originally a different size, and it's been I started with another hull, and it already had a deck plate, so I just left it in there. And in this case, now that I've scaled and moved everything around, the slot welds in the original deck aren't lining up. So I may not have saved myself any time by doing this. In fact, I think I've caused myself more work. But anyways, I thought it might be interesting to show you how I might solve this problem. So all of my internal structures here are on their own layer. So what I'm going to do is go over here to internal structures and right click and go down to select objects rather than select all. If you hit select all, annoyingly it selects all of the layers, but we go down here and select objects. It'll give us all the objects on our internal structure layer. Oops, I don't want to select that. What I'm trying to do here is deselect my transom. So I hit Control and deselect that. It's going to deselect a few items that I don't want to work on, and Control and window drag to deselect that little thing down there. So that just gives me my internal structures selected. So I'll go over here and go into my front view. And as I showed you before, I like to just move stuff out of the way so that it's easier to work on. So I'm going to move this over here to minus 200, just because it's a known number. So I want 200 units. Oops. And I messed up here. So we'll go at minus 200. Or up here, minus on the command line up top here, minus 200 at 0. And that moves everything over out of the way for me so I can work on it. And you notice I've left the deck. I'm going to work in perspective on this, and then my usual trick of zoom selected. That gives us all of our internal structures over here, and also notice some things that I simply don't need in the drawings anymore. Like these were a bunch of profiles for T-bar that isn't going to get used. What I'm going to do is just simply draw a line from the midpoint. Oops. I'll just zoom out from the midpoint of each one. So, did I lose that line? Where did it go? There it is. Oh, yeah, okay, so I missed the end here. Let's do that again, because I want it to go up the middle of these flanges. So Control Z to get it lost. Hit spacebar to repeat last command. Zoom out and get a better angle on everything here. And it gives me a line running up the mid of that. So I'm going to do that to all of these. And I'll just pause the video so spare you the agony of watching it. Be right back. Okay, so I've gone through it all, and I've drawn up all these lines that go up right up the middle of these internal structures. So it gives me now I can get rid of my internal structures by putting them back in the boat, and it'll be a lot cleaner to work with just having some reference lines. So again, let's go over to internal structures, right click, select objects, and we'll deselect these ones because we don't want them to move. Oops. And those two little arrows. So let's just move that deck plate. Move it out 200. And minus 200, 0, and that puts my deck plate right on top of those lines. And because I'm getting tired, I think I'm going to take a break. I'm going to come back to this tomorrow. So get a good night's sleep, everybody. People will thank you for it when they're cutting their materials, and the materials actually fit. This is an occupation where you don't want to make mistakes. It costs everybody money. Could potentially cost people their lives. So let's just put it on hold. Okay, so I've decided I want to put one slot equally spaced between each frame along the longitudinal. So I will have one slot equally spaced between the frames, which would be about a foot spacing, 1 foot 12-inch spacing, which would be fine, and then one slot on each cross point where the frame crosses the longitudinals, and that will give us pretty much a 1 foot even spacing across the whole thing. And I don't think I need one between these. It's just a deck. Although it's a structural deck, we have plenty of connection points here. So to that end, I will use the divide command and make sure that I've split all of these. Okay, so these are all split into individuals, because I'm doing that because the spacing is unequal between these front frames here. So we just want to make sure that we equally space the slot welds. So what we'll do, just to start this off, is we'll select all of them, type in the divide command, and number of segments, I'm going to go with 2. So up here in the command line, I'm just going to type in 2. And that'll give us, it'll split everything into two. So you'll see on every line here we've well, not split it, but we've added a point between the two segments. So we would have the segment on this side, segment on that side. It's been split in half, essentially. And that's great. So we have this curve representing the hole that we set aside earlier. I'm just going to hit copy and just go to that point. And I might just turn my ortho off for a second here down below because it's annoying me. And so we'll just go along this. This is nice about Rhino too. I don't know if you know that. I just right click even in the middle of a command and be able to get the hand tool and drag. So I'm just right clicking and dragging and snapping to every point that I see. Well, that last one doesn't need to be there. So while I'm within the command, I can also hit Control Z normally. Okay, it's not allowing me to do it on this particular command, so I'll just delete that. Because this aft edge of the deck will be welded to the transom anyway, so we don't really need it there. It's going to have a good solid connection. And of course I've missed pretty much every second one. So I'm just going back to the copy and copying from the midpoint. Drop these in. Point. And then I just want to copy all of these without the line, so Control click, Command on Mac. Not too many Mac users, I don't think, in the Rhino world, and just hit copy again, and I'm just going to copy this along using any point that makes sense here. Copy these across to all of the other. I know what you're saying. Why aren't you just using the array? But again, because of the unequal spacing, and it just wouldn't work out. I tried it. And copy again, right click to re-invoke last command because I want to put some more here, and I don't need it on the end. Not sure, I'm pretty sure I don't need it there because there is a bulkhead there. There's a crash bulkhead running right in here somewhere, so this is actually going to get split and welded to the front and back of the collision bulkhead. So that about does this. Now what I was saying earlier was in order to cut holes in a surface, you would notice right now that if I select this and then just go trim and select in there, it's not even going to see it's not seeing an object there, and that's just the way Rhino works, which is the best way, as I was showing earlier in the tutorial. If I'm working in wireframe, you can see through, you can reach through to the back parts and things like that. So what we'll do is we just simply, it's a very simple fix here. You just go up to and we'll just go to shaded, and when it's shaded, then you can trim that out. So, bearing that in mind, we will go out of the trim command and simply go back to wireframe for a second here. So then what we're going to do is just select all of these holes, and then we'll just quickly deselect the lines because it's it'll want to split our holes on each side of these lines, which would be no fun to double up on all our work. This is why making boat kits takes months. Maybe not on a boat this size, but it is a lot of work. A lot of just tedious, repetitive work. So, now we have them all selected. We want to go into our trim command. And as I showed you, we can't trim because we can't select it, but if we simply just go to the shaded mode, then we can just trim out all these holes. And we kind of want to get in close because it's just a lot faster to, and again, right click and drag. Okay, I've made all the cuts, and now we have our single plate with all our slot weld holes in it. And I can just select that as a surface, and that'll leave behind all of my construction lines and points and everything. Let's just zoom out in our front/left viewport here. And go to move it to 200 at 0, and that puts it right back in our boat up here in our and as you can see, all of these slot welds line right up with these flanges, and during construction the assemblers can just load this in, fill the slot welds, sand them flush, and of course weld all the way around. It'll give us a watertight deck that is bonded to our framing, and our framing is bonded to the hull. So it gives us a completely monoc kind of construction where it's one solid box from this deck down. You wouldn't believe how strong these are. I've built models, built scale models of this, and tried to twist and break them, and I've just built the models out of cardboard, and just incredibly strong. So I guess that will be kind of it for today's crazy lesson. Like I said, you might think I'm crazy doing things this way, but some of the automated tools just don't function for this type of thing. So over here we've still got our lattice work. I normally delete it, but I've still got to do my, where is it? Come on, select, there we go. Zoom selected. I've still got this the swim grid plate back here that I got to pop some holes into as well. So, and I'm going to just be doing the same thing again, so that'll be boring for you. So I'll just leave it at this, and I'll come back and maybe do some more on this boat with you guys. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, as they say. And again, I apologize for the rambling nature of my early tutorials here. This is my first or second tutorial ever, so I'm hoping to get a little better at it as we go. So bear with me.